Hey everyone, Cinephile Mike here. Apologies for the delay on this video. There was just so much Comic-Con goodness going on, but I am going to keep it moving and I'm going to keep on theme here today with day 65, Oscar Rewind, my bi-weekly series of videos where I revisit the films that reflect the work of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. As always, I'll be discussing the awards history for the film, box office information, the critical response, and as always, these reviews are spoiler-free. You can find older episodes of Rewind and a lot of other great award season reviews here on the YouTube channel or on my website, cinephilemike.com, where you can also find a lot of great print reviews. But before I move into this movie that you're probably wondering, what is this one? Please go ahead, click that subscribe button, click that like button, join in the conversation. Oscar Rewind season 1 is almost over, and there's going to be some great films coming out on theme with the spooky season. You don't want to miss. But today I'm talking about the 2002 sci fi action film that had some connections to Comic Con last weekend. Yes, I am here to talk about Toho's Returner. Written by Kenya Hirata and the director Takashi Yamazaki, this film's primary release was overseas in Japan and China in the summer of and fall of 2002, respectively, and then had a small domestic release over a year later in the fall of 2003. Now, as for the film's box office return, it was considered very successful. With a reported budget of $4 million, the film made $9,905,196 in the international markets, which was more than double its reported budget, and then added an additional $73,060 in at the domestic box office, which, as of this recording and posting on Box Office Mojo, has the film sitting at $9,978,256. Critically, there's a bit of a divide with where the film sits on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 38% critical rating, which is made up of about 34 reviews, and a higher but still kind of low popcorn meter with a score of 65%, culled from over 10,000 audience reviews. So, why is this film on Rewind this season? Well, as I said, there's a Comic Con connection. And also, once I said the production company Toho, you probably were able to figure out that yes, this film Returner was the second feature film, I was not able to find the first, that was written and directed by this past season's Oscar winner, Takashi Yamazaki, who was part of the winning team for the historical win, first time a Godzilla film won an Oscar. Yes, Godzilla minus one won the Oscar for Best Visual Effects. The team, which included Yamazaki, who was the visual effects supervisor, also included his colleagues Masaki Takahashi, Kyoko Shibuya, both of whom were also on the visual effects team for Returner. And the fourth member, not on Returner, was Tatsuji Nojima. Now, I will say, Godzilla Minus One, excellent film. I reviewed it last season. And so you know, it's coming back to theaters on November 1st, both the color and the black and white version, with exclusive behind the scenes footage on how they made the film. Some of which I got to see at Comic Con last weekend, and it was so good. So, if you missed that film or if you love that film and want to re see it, go see it on the big screen. This is not one for the home theaters. And when you see the way that they got some of those effects, oh, that Oscar, so warranted. But I digress. Let me get back to Returner. That's why we're here. Returner had its own little awards journey. Kieran Kiki, who plays a comical weapons supplier, was nominated for Best Supporting Actress by the Asian Film Critics Association, and then the rest, there were five other nods, came from the awards of the Japanese Academy, where Kiki was again nominated for Best Supporting Actress. There was a supporting actor nod for Goro Kishitani, the villain of our film. It was nominated for Best Editing, and the other two nods did result in wins, both for Anne Suzuki, the star of our film, who won Newcomer of the Year and won the Most Popular Performer Award, which was voted on by the general public. So, Returner is a sci fi film, as I said, that takes place on. If I had released this video on the day it was scheduled to, and again, I'm sorry for the delay, it takes place on October 22nd, 2002, 22 years ago, yesterday's original scheduled release. But our film actually opens in the year 2084, where a soldier, Millie, played by Suzuki, has to time travel back to 2002 to stop the incident that causes her future to see Earth on the verge of extinction and obliteration by an alien race known as the Dagra. Now, upon jumping through to stop the first Dagra from causing a problem, she kind of lands in the middle of an attempted assassination between Hitman Miyamoto, played by Takeshi Kaneshiro, who has been hired to kill a member of the Triad mob, Mitsuguchi, played by Kishitani, who I referenced before with the nomination. Millie falls into the middle of this, and as a result, Mizuguchi is able to get away, and Miyamoto believes he accidentally shot Millie. So he takes her back home to make sure that she's okay, and we see that she's fine, protected by a plate of silver that was in her jacket. But she realizes to accomplish my goal and to stop the Dagra, I can use this guy. So she sneakily, with her wiles and skills, well, better way to get someone to help you than to install a bomb in their neck, which causes a bit of a fraught, tense relationship between these two. But ultimately, Miyamoto does agree to help Millie on her mission because it will help to save the world. And they set off to stop the first Dagra from causing this war that will eventually cause Earth's obliteration. And they will need to overcome some other challenges, such as, well, look, Mizuguchi was more than just an attempted assassin. He's coming back now with the Triad to steal this alien technology that has crash landed on Earth. It's not the world's best kept secret. So Miyamoto and Millie will have to contend with them, as well as finding support from our very funny She, the aforementioned weapons dealer played by Kiki, who will help them along the way. However, we will see that things are not always as they appear because as Millie gets closer to accomplishing her task, well, it seems that maybe there was some misinformation shared, which will lead her to question what she's doing and whether or not this is the right course of action to take. And then this will all lead to a showdown with Mizuguchi, the Triad, and other individuals as we try to save the planet. So, look, we've all seen the time travel film done before, sometimes done well, High Back to the Future, sometimes not done quite so well, Goodbye Click. Returner, look, it doesn't tread any new ground, but in its lead role, Suzuki, it's clear why she was voted the popular winner by the people. She is quite engaging to watch in this film, and you wouldn't expect her to necessarily be the action superstar hero, but more like hiding behind the hitman, but that's not the case. And Kishitani, it's a little bit of a one-note performance in Miyamoto, but the two of them do provide a unique pairing. And look, the highlight for the film is when they're with Chi, played by Kiki, the arms dealer. She is a breath of fresh air and excellent comic timing that, unfortunately, to me, feels a little bit underused in the film. I could have used a little bit more of her. It would just have made the film that much more enjoyable. Story wise, it gets a little convoluted. Yamazaki, maybe he attempts to do a little bit too much as we have, the alien subplot, the mob subplot, the hitman and the relationship. So, I mean, it is a little bit much, and then you're trying to adjust to the factors of the time travel. But, you know, at the end, they make an attempt to clean it all up, and it is clear by the end how things happen. So, certain questions will be answered. The problem, though, story wise, is sometimes they attempt to get a little too real, which takes us away from the absurdity of stopping the alien time travel story, and that's where it kind of falls apart a bit. And you wish they had leaned a little bit more into the silliness of it. Now, visually, this film is not too bad to look at. I mean, it obviously does not compare to Godzilla minus one, but for 2002, the effects are not awful. I don't think it's actually, well, it doesn't actually quite hit the heights that The Fifth Element did, and that film predated Returner by several years. But they do the best that they can working with. We don't know what resources they had in Japan. They did have some of the technology. I just wish that if we're going to have aliens as your primary focus of a sci-fi film, they could have been a little bit better. They were a little bit of a disappointment for me. But I'm glad to see how the team has developed in their effects. Obviously, Godzilla minus one and a lot of the other films after the fact seem and look a lot better. So, in all, Returner is a 3-star film for me. Nothing overwhelmingly outstanding, but I have spent 2 hours on much worse. Now, if you would like to watch Returner, as of this posting, sadly, it's no longer streaming. It was on Amazon Prime for a while. It is no longer there. However, if you are a fan of Yamazaki and the Godzilla film and want to check out this director, writer, director's work, there are several cheap copies available for sale on Amazon. There's no other streaming or digital rental information at this time. So there you have it. Thank you for returning here to me on Rewind. If you like what you heard here, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, make a comment. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. Lots of great content on my website, cinephilemike.com, stuff from Comic Con, the different film festivals I've been working with, so much goodness. We're almost a wrap on Oscar Rewind Season 1. We're going to be getting into awards season 3, if you can believe it, in the end of November. Oh, so much goodness. But happy watching, everyone. And until next time, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.